developed, or we are currently developing. Well, this is not a pure use case presentation. We try to of course, tell you some use cases from projects we've done, but in general, we would like to show you the SAP connectivity package of plugins we have developed. Okay, so let's start. I've introduced myself. As mentioned, I would like to show the Pentaho SAP connector. We are currently developing, or we have developed, and we would like to, or we are using in different projects, and to gain control over SAP data with Pentaho. Okay, I think first of all, I would like to give you some background information about our company, because this is really helpful to understand why we are investing in such a connectivity package. it-novum is an IT consultancy, and our headquarters is in Müller, which is a small city, one and a half hour drive here from Mainz. We have several other offices in Germany, and we have an office in Vienna to serve the Austrian market. And our focus is implementing business solutions based on open source software. So we have quite a broad portfolio from different technologies we are using to implement custom-made solutions. So we are doing different projects for a lot of customers, and and the strategic goal from it-novum is this integration of open source and closed source software. And for that reason, we are also a certified SAP business partner. And the other reason why we are a certified SAP business partner is we belong to the publicly listed Kapitalis AG. So we belong to an enterprise company group, and we are the only company in this group that is not doing manufacturing. That is not a manufacturing company, so we are not producing anything. All the other companies, they are producing, special cords and yarns for industrial use cases. So, for example, for tires or bulletproof vests. And it-novum was the former IT department of this enterprise group, but in 2001 they decided to outsource us into an own company, and mission was to serve an external market or to work for external customers, and they made some good decisions. So concentrating on the niche market like open source and on the enterprise level. So with the combination with these all enterprise technologies like SAP. So we have always built a lot of interfaces to SAP from different technologies, and this is what we've done for Pentaho as well. So to give you an idea what we are doing besides business intelligence and big data, so here are the three business units that are serving the external market. So I'm running the business for business intelligence and big data. Our strategic partner is Pentaho. We have partnerships with Cloudera and other technologies as well to cover big data use cases. We have Enterprise Information Management business unit. These guys are implementing enterprise content management solutions. They are implementing document management software, workflows, processes, portals with Alfresco on library. And we have a business unit doing IT service management. And these guys are implementing solutions like help desk systems, monitoring software, and all the business units are dealing with SAP. IT service management, for example, we have expertise in monitoring SAP systems. With enterprise information management, we also have interfaces between Alfresco and SAP to cover business processes. So when it's necessary to exchange data, for example, if you have an invoice process, you exchange data between Alfresco and your SAP system to synchronize informations. And what we will show today is the Pentaho SAP connector. And this is obviously the plugin that allows you to extract data easily from SAP systems, from various SAP systems. Then we have two internal business units, SAP itself and the data center business unit. So these guys are not working on external market, they are just serving internal customers. So we have quite a large global SAP environment, and for all the other companies in our group, where they are heavily focusing on production, logistics, financials. and all these modules a typical medium-sized company is using when they are manufacturing products. So we have a lot of experience, and we have the right guys sitting here explaining us how SAP is working, and we are trying to combine all the other technologies or our knowledge, our expertise with this SAP knowledge, and so to find a good solution and to make things work. Regarding our partnership to Pentaho, I think we have got we have a lot of different partnerships. We started in 2009 as system integrator and reseller. So we are doing the projects and we're selling licenses. And we are also an authorized trainings partner in German-speaking region. So some of you, I think, have even joined trainings at Fuller. So we are doing a lot of the public trainings for Pentaho in Germany. We are a customer as well, so we have an OEM agreement developing a ITSM analytics solution based on Pentaho. So Open Lighthouse is a solution that offers pre-configured interfaces to different ITSM service management or IT service management systems and predefined dashboards using C-tools, PDI, Analyzer. And of course we have this technology partnership regarding SAP. So why is SAP important? This is maybe a little bit of a strange question because this is not a vendor or a technology you have to explain most of the times. But here are some quite impressive numbers where they are a real global player. So 74% of the world's transaction revenue touches an SAP system. I think the latest numbers are even higher, 76 or 77%. And they're serving 300,000 customers in 190 countries. They're a real global player and one of the rare global IT players in Germany. So we don't have so many IT companies that are that successful. And so a lot of enterprises globally use it, and of course a lot of interesting data is stored inside SAP, and it makes sense to extract it, to work with it, and to generate or to realize interesting use cases around SAP. Yeah, but working with SAP is not so easy. I think one Pentaho claim was Hadoop is hard. SAP can be hard as well. So we have a lot of organizational challenges. Sometimes you just want to migrate data, to export data from SAP to other systems, or you would like to migrate data to another SAP system. Or, of course, one thing that is interesting for us as Pentaho, business intelligence consultants, is the fact that you need the SAP data for the tactical and strategic decisions. And you would like to extract it, modelize it, enrich it, and use it to make decisions. And sometimes you even have data quality issues when you're doing SAP projects and you extract the data, you aggregate it, and you often face the situation when the customer says, why are I doing this? Or there are certain fields missing, we have to do something in SAP. So this is something that can happen as well. Yeah, why is data integration for SAP difficult? It has a really proprietary format and structure, a lot of strange things sometimes you have to become aware of. And when you work with SAP as a data source, it's quite complex to work with it or to realize use cases. So you have a steep learning curve when you develop SAP-based solutions, and SAP programmers can be a bottleneck as well in organizations. So of course you can have an ABAP programmer or something like this, and but these guys are not so available or really rare, so this can be a problem as well. So it makes sense to maybe look for different solutions. Yeah, what are possible solutions? How you can handle it? Of course, you can always have the hand-coded approach. You can create more silos, departmental solutions. You can rely on your SAP programmer or other employees in your organization. These are the typical reports and processes that have the names of the employees. So it's the Müller report or the Keidel process, but this is not so effective, of course, because someone is leaving the company and he's taking all the knowledge with him, and so you have a problem. So this is not a real solution as well. And of course, Excel is everywhere. We've heard it in the presentation before. A lot of people like Excel, love Excel, and it's really easy, of course, to export the data into an Excel file and to use it or to report on this data. But of course, you have a lot of disadvantages. It's not automated, it's not standardized. Maybe you have security issues. You just store a file with quite confidential SAP data somewhere on your file server. So this is not a really good solution. So what makes sense instead? Using PDI, for example, makes sense. Using a professional ETL software and to perform the data extractions from SAP. So this is always good. We all love working with Pentaho data integration. Makes sense. You have a powerful tool to realize use cases, different use cases, and to analyze the data, to migrate it to other systems. But if you look at PDI right now, we have quite limited possibilities to work with your SAP data. We have this SAP input step, which was developed by a former partner of Pentaho. It's quite complex to use, and as far as I know, as far as we know, it's not updated since quite a long time, so not real progress on this. You have a SAP HANA bulk loader step you can use to really load data in SAP HANA. And of course you can use the JDBC connection to HANA as well to extract data from HANA data sources. So not really so many options. And for that reason we are developing, or we are offering this Pentaho SAP connector. So this is a connector, or the base of this connector was developed in 2010, so quite a long time ago. There were a lot of other connectors in these times, but most of them are not updated any longer. So due to the lack of functionalities and the importance of SAP as an enterprise data source, we have decided to maintain our step, to update it, and to even extend it regarding the functionalities. So, as you have seen, there is currently one option to query data from SAP ERP, which is quite hard to use, and it's not so scalable as well. And we don't have any chance to load data from Business Warehouse, for example. And this is what we have done, what we have prepared. So we have developed 4 plugins for PDI, offering different features and functionalities. So every step is supporting the current PDI version, 7.x, and every step is supporting all these new methodologies in Pentaho data integration. So we are supporting metadata injection, we are supporting the usage of variables, filter functionality, selection of fields, and all these nice comfort features that makes it easier to work with SAP in those cases. The table input step is the step that is the most easy to use step. So you can just select the table from SAP you would like to extract. You can have several filters, and then it's loaded. So, and you can join it with other data sources. You can join it with other SAP tables. The RC executor, this is a more fancy step, more technical step. So it offers, it's not so easy to use, but it offers you, on the other hand, more features and functions. So we can use Sparkies, we can use different RFC calls, and are pretty flexible using the functions that SAP is offering. So we have a lot of freedom there. And what's really new, because it's not available right now, are the Business Warehouse input steps. So here are also 2 available. We have a DSO input that allows us to query data from the so-called DSO, which is some kind of staging area in the Business Warehouse. So not the cube directly, just the layer under the cubes. And we have this Business Warehouse info cube input. So this allows you to directly query data from all our cubes in Business Warehouse. And as mentioned, all of these steps are supporting these modern methodologies. and there are more functions on the roadmap, or some things will come, but yeah, the basic functionality is here. And at this point, I would like to hand over to Alex from the dev team, and he can give you a short demo how it works.
Yeah. Hi, as Stefan introduced me already, I'm Alex. I'm working in Stefan's team. I'm in the dev team, and I'm giving you like a short presentation of the work that we are currently doing, and giving you an outlook what we want to do, like a cutting-edge version that we built yesterday. I hope it works, but yeah, I think I have to.
Der Mouse ist nicht verbunden.
No, it's, I think it works. Oh. No, it's working. Ich stehe vom Beamer. So I have to make some sprout here. So I'm giving you like a short overview of like,
Ja.
okay. So our like first step is that we updated is table input step. It existed for quite a while now, since 2010, and we did quite a lot of work in the back end of the step to update how it calls functions, that it can connect to BB as well, and to like parse parameters that are like a bit complex in SAP, and to handle the SAP data types. The SAP data types are a bit strange. For example, there's like a number, a packed number, that has a minus at the end, and it is given as a string to us, so you don't expect, for example, a number that has string literals in it. That's just a short example of how strange these SAP data types work, and how hard it was to handle all of them. But maybe I give you a short demo. So you can choose our connection here, and you can give, for example, a table name. You can search for that. It's like some business table. I hope our internet connection is fast enough, because like we are going through VPN through my mobile phone through the thick walls. And
it's the data center approach.
It's a data center approach here. But you can see I get some tables. So I can choose one of them. I think it's like some billing data. And you can see here are the SAP data types and the inferred PDI data type. So you have some dates, you have some numbers. I think when you are like a SAP developer, you will recognize them immediately. And what you can do as well, you can give a filter to the table. So the filter is executed on the SAP system itself. So it's like a query that you send to a database. And you can, it's pretty easy to use. You can give like a number here, for example. Yeah. Loading data takes a bit long. So I will continue with the other steps before I show an example that is a bit faster. Another step that we currently developed for Business Warehouse is our DSO input step. As Stefan mentioned already, DSOs are a staging area, a kind of staging area that SAP uses when you ingest data into SAP before you build your info cubes. And you can choose our BB connection here. And you can also search for info providers that are on our like small dev system. That there are not that much, so I can use the star. I think when you use this on the large enterprise business warehouse, it will take a bit longer, maybe some more seconds. And you can even see here that data types are inferred, and that you can see the material and stuff like that. Another thing that is interesting is that you can query all DSO versions. So when you, for example, when you load data to the staging area of SAP, multiple versions are written of the DSO. For example, changed content. So it automatically does some kind of delta, calculating delta on the data. So you can choose the type of DSO that you want to extract from SAP. For example, revisited, changed, or data that is in transportation. For example, between one system and another, there's some kind of transportation layer. So you can click, I want to transport data, and then it's marked for transportation before it's like activated. And we can access all these kinds of data with our pretty easy to use version selector. That was like the simple steps that we have to that we want to use, that we implemented. There's like some kind of fancy step for advanced users. It's called our RFC executor, and it allows to execute RFC functions on ERP and BV systems as well. So you can call any SAP functions, even user-defined functions that you have there. And one more fancy thing is, I can maybe show it later. So you can choose a connection at EDIS, and you can query for functions, for example, RFC read. That's quite common functions to read, for example, a table. And then you can see you get a hierarchical tree of input and table parameters. And that's like one thing where we had to spend a lot of work, because these can be extraordinarily deep. So the tree gets deeper. So you can put input parameters in here, another one, and another layer, and another layer. And I think it was not possible with the existing function executor to call these complex functions. So we had to develop our own approach to deal with hierarchical data in PDI. What also is quite nice is you can chain function calls. So you can make a step and pass the parameters that you have executed to the next step. So you can quite execute chains of functions in SAP. You could even reassemble a transaction. So for the more technical guys, it's kind of a lambda function that you can implement using PDI steps for SAP functions. That what we are currently doing, so you can get the parameters or you can pass them. We support metadata injections in all our steps from the start, so you can use metadata injection how you like it. You can make some really fancy things with the RFC executor when you want to spend a lot of time. For example, you can execute a transaction, and you can metadata inject it into another one, and so you can execute another transaction, for example. But as I'm in the business track, I think I have to show a short visual demo how it works. Because my internet is a bit slow here because of the thick walls, I preloaded it. I hope you can excuse me there. But what I'm doing here is I get billing document data, header data, and I'm joining it with the positions. And then I'm applying, here I think I do the join. And then I get the region for the customer where the billing was created. And this can be visualized as well. I think everyone knows PDI. You can easily visualize data. And the interesting thing is that you can, I think you all know it, you can blend it with any other data source and integrate your SAP data. Yeah, I can make some nice column charts for business people here.
Just take city and region.
Yeah. Region. I think it's a bit. Yeah. soon because I cannot read here my. Yeah. Okay. No demo for the business guys. I will.
Nice. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So even without demo, we try to become a little bit more use case oriented and give you some ideas what we believe you can do with the step. I mean, one pretty obvious use case is data integration of SAP data. I mean, this is something we are doing for years. Even for our parent company, we are doing this for 10 years, running a data warehouse based on SAP for all the different companies in the group, and they have cubes, purchasing cubes, they have logistic cubes, they have production cubes. We have, of course, controlling cubes, and everything you can imagine. So we can extract everything from SAP, prepare it in a multi-dimensional model, and all the business analysts and controller can use it to analyze the business. Yeah, so this is the typical challenges. You need SAP data for your strategic and technical decisions. In fact, coming back again to our parent company, they have saved a lot of money while analyzing the SAP data. For example, in decreasing or cutting costs for stocks. They're all manufacturing companies, and when you have a high stock, it's really, really expensive, and if you can optimize it, you have a large effect on your money. So that's really, really powerful. And yeah, it's pretty hard. We have seen Alex told us about some special data formats in SAP. So this is not always so easy or so straightforward. So you have to use the appropriate technologies to make this work. And at the end of the day, SAP is transaction-oriented. When we are talking to SAP customers or SAP users, why should we do this? Everything is stored in SAP. We don't care. But this is not the truth, because SAP is supporting business processes and it's storing data along business processes, and this is really operational. But if you would like to do analytics, you have to aggregate the data, you have to build KPIs, and that's something totally different. Maybe it works in SAP, you can make it happen, but it's a lot more complicated and it takes you more time. So this is a better approach to do it. Yeah. So we prepare the data, we serve historical data that allows you, of course, to do time series analysis, to have comparisons to previous periods, and everything is automated, standardized, and production ready. And then you have a better availability of the data. So for that use case, I just brought you another example how SAP data is looking. This is billing data. So here are invoices, and you have a lot of corresponding informations. You have customer informations, material informations, product informations, and everything is distributed over your ERP system. And of course, if you would like to do analytics on it, you have to join it, you have to blend it, and to generate and to make the aggregations and to build the KPIs on it. And what's funny about SAP, from my point of view, is when you look at the acronyms, VBRP, that's okay if you speak German, because it stands for Vertriebsbelegposition, so it's an invoice, but you don't speak German, no, this could be a challenge. Yeah? So, and this is all over, this is KNA, here are customer names stored, Kundenname, so I mean, that's interesting for such a global player, but this is really how the database is looking like. Yeah? So, and of course, if you're a controller, you don't want to look for VBRP. You just want to have your KPIs, your revenue, your units, your data format, and we can map all these technical informations in a nice multi-dimensional model with names that a business user can understand and use. Another interesting scenario Alex also mentioned is data blending. Of course, SAP maybe has a different view on it, but there are other systems. Not all the users, you can do everything with SAP maybe, but it's really expensive and not so easy. So, and there are better solutions out there. So you often have the need to combine data from different sources. For example, you have your sales data in your SAP system, like we've seen before, and but you have your sales activities in Salesforce, for example, and you would like to a combination on it. So, what are the customers that generate the most revenue? Which products did they buy? What are the sales activities? So revenue is a really poor KPI if you don't combine it with other informations. If you have a lot of sales activity and it's really expensive, even the higher revenue can be nothing. Yeah? You have a really a loss in an extreme scenario. So so we can use PDI to, on the one hand, integrate the SAP data or extract the SAP data and combine it with all the other data sources, and to have better insights. So yeah, this is a Pentaho slide, but I really like it because it shows what it's all about. You have all the different data, or different types of data. You have unstructured data, semi-structured data, structured data. But this is what PDI is all about, is you want to contextualize, you want to have context to the information. We don't want to look into data silos, but we want to have an integrated view. 360-degree view on a customer, for example, integrating data from SAP, from Salesforce, maybe from our web application, from our online banking or whatever, to really create a holistic view on certain objects we are interested in. So what is the solution? We have to bring it all together, we have to plan it. And so if you would like to use SAP, we have a solution for you. So, and of course, Pentaho in general allows you to build these data pipelines really quickly, to analyze the data, to even do things like machine learning, if you want to do something more complex compared to descriptive analytics or to predictive analytics, and make decisions for your business. This is a Hitachi slide, which was also really nice, and it shows something we are often discussing with customers, or a lot of customers have interest in. So predictive maintenance, for example, is a really interesting use case. So on the one hand, you have IoT data from your shop floor, from your MES system, or from your manufacturing processes. That's nice. You have all these unstructured data, high volume. But if you would like to do analytics on it, you are also interested what customer order was in production. What materials are needed? What products are we producing right now? And for that reason, we have to combine the data. We have to plan it to have a really interesting overview and to realize this nice efficiency gains. So we have to access all data and combine it. Yeah, last use case, data offload. This is pretty simple. It's all about saving money. So we have a lot of data, or of course explosion of data. So this is one of the reasons why we are all here, and we are focusing on topics like big data analytics, because we would like to generate value from this data. But on the other hand, it can be quite expensive to store it. So we have SAP HANA. This is quite an expensive technology, and it's licensed per amount of data, or the volume of data you are storing in it. And yeah. I mean, you all are BI consultants or big data consultants, you know, charts like this. You have to think where to store the data, the hot data, maybe in the expensive databases, but cold data can be stored in Hadoop because it's much more, it's cheaper. And so you can save money. And if you have all the interfaces in place and you have the knowledge about the data, you can build data warehouse optimization, offloading scenarios to really save money, license costs. Yeah, to sum it up, we have this SAP connector up and running. Currently, we are thinking about how to distribute it, how to make it available. Yeah, it helps you to easily access the data and to work with SAP data and to generate all the benefits I've introduced shortly. We have two customers that have similar use cases, or use cases like I've shown. VOS, this is an automotive supplier, and we have used Pentaho here to implement a data warehouse based on SAP. So they are heavily focusing on logistic data, quality management data, parts per million reports and stuff like this. All the things you need to do when you're an automotive supplier. Because this is quite a hard business and all the OEMs push you and you have to deliver information and deliver a good quality. Another example is RSAG. This is a municipality company in Siegburg, and this is a typical data planning scenario. On the one hand they have SAP with all the financial data, on the other hand they have industry-specific solutions. So they are a waste management company, and these industry-specific solutions, for example, they use the waste people are bringing to their locations, and of course this has some value, and those they combine it in several analytics and to drive their business or to control their business. Okay, I'm at the end. So, any questions? No questions. Okay, so we will move on. Okay.
I have a question still. As SAP has their own business intelligence tools, and they purchased business objects some while ago, and why customers are not using their solutions for SAP solutions for analyzing SAP data?
Do you have the experience that most of the people like business objects, or
Not really.
not? Sometimes they don't like it. I mean, that's a discussion you often have. I mean, you have SAP is saying we can do everything.
Yes.
Don't care. We come to you, no problem. We will make it happen. And but this doesn't mean that they have the best solution in place or for your requirements or your customer requirements. And if you have non-SAP data, for example, yeah, so you will have a good answer when you show PDI and say, okay, that's easy. You can combine it. Yeah? You can use the sensor data. You can query sensor data and combine it with SAP data. And so yeah, this is something that makes sense, or I would say.
And the cost also.
But costs, yeah, and it's
also
expensive. Yeah, so.
The license for BI is very expensive.
It is.
You
It
need,
is.
you need 1,000.
It's very bright.
Sorry.
Thank you.
You have another question?
Yeah, we have a pricing model for your connector already. And do you support as well the know-how? Because it's not only the connector,
Sure.
somebody should know about the structures in SAP behind.
Yeah. This is something that is currently in discussion. We're not sure if we will distribute using the marketplace, for example, or if we use other ways of distribution to distribute the software. We will offer a support model, so it will be a it's an enterprise feature, so it will cost money, and for support and a small portion of license, and of course we are consultants, so we are Pentaho consultants, at least in the German-speaking region. But if it makes sense, of course, and we would like to, we are selling licenses, we would be happy to enable other partners, for example, that are maybe in other regions. So this would be absolutely fine for us. Yeah.
So it is possible to buy the connector and the consultant supports you using it in a SAP connecting project.
True, absolutely. So this is the idea behind it. So we offer support, and if you have, I don't know, there's an update of your SAP system, it's not working any longer, you have a support contract, we will fix the bug. Or, I don't know, new Pentaho version will be shipped out, we will take care that it works
No,
with.
in developing a solution, it's using Pentaho as a connector between the SAP system and other system for it as an interface connector.
Yeah, as mentioned, these are solutions. So we are implementing individual solutions for customers. So that's our business, our core business, and of course we will do this.
Just have a question. You mentioned two customers that you had that.
Mm-hmm.
How long are the implementations there? I mean, is it recent? Or?
Depends on. I mean, we always have customers, that want that want the house and just move in, or you want that we have customers that want enablement or engagements, and these customers they want enablement. So we are more on the enablement side, of course. When it comes to SAP and SAP know-how, we support them more intensive. But in general, these people are developing the solutions by themselves, more or less. Sometimes we have larger projects, so we deliver more about it, so, but we can't say it in general. Especially BOS, these guys are is one of our first customers in Germany, or Pentaho customers. I think we're supporting them since 2010, and we still have projects. Of course, it's growing, and they are realizing more use cases. We build dashboards. We are offering self-service analytics with Analyzer, and now we are talking about big data, for example. Yeah. Okay, more questions? Okay, so thank you.